everyone. In this video, I'll be talking about journal history taking in ENT. Now, journal history includes name, age, gender, caste, religion, then occupation, address or residence, then past history, personal history, family history, and social history. So we'll be seeing these points one by one. These constitute the journal history of the patient. So first is the name. The importance of asking the name of the patient is, first is for identification, that we should be able to identify the patient by his name. Then to develop a rapport with the patient, that is for a good doctor-patient relationship, and for record keeping. The name is important. Then age. So there are certain ENT diseases which are commonly seen in particular age group. So we see here that in newborns, the congenital anomalies will be there. For example, laryngomalacia and choanal atresia. So laryngomalacia is a disease in which there is flaccidity of the supraglottic larynx. So the typical complaint is that there is respiratory distress or difficulty in breathing during the supine position. And when the patient is put in the prone position, the respiration improves. Choanal atresia is a condition in which the posterior choana, either unilateral or bilateral, they do not communicate with the nasopharynx. So the posterior choana are separated from the nasopharynx either by a membranous or a bony septum. That is called choanal atresia. Then in school-going children, the common ENT pathologies can be acute otitis media, then recurrent upper respiratory tract infections, tonsillitis, and foreign bodies, because this age group patients, the children, they have the habit of putting everything in their mouth, and sometimes in ear and nose also. So foreign bodies are common in this age group. Then in adolescents, that is juvenile or young patients, the diseases which are common are juvenile recurrent laryngeal papillomatosis. So it is one of the etiologies is human papilloma virus, in which multiple papilla they form in the larynx and they can cause the respiratory distress. Another condition is juvenile nasopharyngeal angiofibroma, which is a benign vascular tumor of the nose and the nasopharynx. So these two conditions, they are commonly seen in adolescent individuals. Then puberty, the atrophic rhinitis and autosclerosis. These two conditions, they are more common in patients who are near their puberty. And finally, in elderly individuals, the presbycusis, which is age-related sensory neural hearing loss, it is common in elderly individuals. So we should ask the age of the patient. Then gender. So in examination, you can be asked that name one condition from ear, nose, and throat which is common in males, and name some condition from ear, nose, and throat which is common in females. So in males, if we see juvenile nasopharyngeal angiofibroma, it is almost exclusively seen in males. Then oral and laryngeal carcinomas, they are also more common in males because they have the habit of tobacco chewing and smoking. So carcinomas are more common in males. Then in females, nasal condition is atrophic rhinitis, in which there is atrophy of the nasal mucosa. Then autosclerosis, it is common in females. Then thyroid disorders, they are also common in females. And post-cricoid carcinoma, it is seen more commonly in females. So post-cricoid carcinoma can be part of a syndrome, that is Plummer-Vinson syndrome. So these conditions are more common in females. Then next point in history taking is caste or the religion. Now there are certain diseases which are commonly seen in a particular caste or religion. For example, in Maharashtra Vidarbha region, in the Bodhya community, epistaxis is commonly seen because sickle cell anemia is common in this community. Then similarly, if we talk about Gujarat, then in Saurashtra region, again epistaxis is more common in Sindhis and Bhanushalis because thalassemia is commonly seen in this community. Then Congenital sensory neural hearing loss. It is commonly seen with consanguineous marriages. For example, in Muslims, the chances of congenital sensory neural hearing loss are more. So these are the some ENT symptoms which are seen more commonly seen in a particular caste or religion. Then occupation. So vocal nodules, these are small benign nodules seen in vocal cord. They are almost bilateral in always bilateral, and they are seen at the junction of anterior one third and posterior two third of the vocal cord, as can be seen in this diagram. And these vocal nodules are common in certain occupations in which there is the person they have to speak constantly in high pitch voice or loud voice. For example, hawkers, teachers, singers, and children who scream a lot. So vocal nodules are common in these occupations, and that is why sometimes they are also known as singers nodules. So these are the vocal nodules seen bilaterally. Then nasal septal perforation is commonly seen in persons who are working in heavy metal industries like nickel, chromium, and arsenic. So the fumes of these heavy metals, they can cause septal perforation. Then laryngocele, it is common in trumpet blowers, because the trumpet blowers, they have their intralaryngeal pressure is raised during blowing the trumpet, so that leads to the herniation of the saccule, which is called laryngocele. So these are the conditions which are related to the occupation of the individual. Then importance of address or the residence of the patient. So there is one condition, rhinosporidiosis. It is a fungal infection of the nose which is caused by the fungus Rhinosporidium sebarii, and it is commonly seen in people of southern India because they have the habit of bathing in the ponds along with their cattle. So they get that disease from the cattle. Then rhinoscleroma, it is more commonly seen in northern India. So rhinoscleroma, it is a bacterial disease. Again, it is the chronic granulomatous disease of the nose caused by the bacteria Klebsiella rhinoscleromatis. Then Plummer-Vinson syndrome, it is commonly seen in central Gujarat. It is associated with iron deficiency anemia. Then thyroid disorders, they are commonly seen in sub-Himalayan regions where the soil is deficient in iodine. And sensory neural hearing loss. It is commonly seen in persons who are residing near the mills in which there is constant loud noise, or people who are staying in the near the railway tracks and airports. So these people, because of their residence, they have more chances of getting a noise induced hearing loss, which is a type of sensory neural hearing loss. Then importance of past history. So if the patient has a past history of untreated tuberculosis, then that can lead to ear infection, that is tuberculous otitis media, or sometimes laryngeal tuberculosis. If the patient is having uncontrolled diabetes, then the infections may take a long time to heal. There is poor healing. And malignant otitis externa, it is common in patients with uncontrolled diabetes. And mucormycosis of the nose, it is also common in patients with uncontrolled diabetes. Then if there is uncontrolled hypertension, then such patients will have more chances of having epistaxis. Then if the patient is on any medication, then we should ask the detailed drug history, because there are certain ototoxic drugs which can cause hearing loss. For example, antimalarials and aminoglycosides. Then in streptomycin, it is anti-tubercular drug. So these are ototoxic drugs. Then if the patient has a past history of postnatal jaundice during after birth, so that can also cause deafness. Then if there is a past history of head injury, and it can lead to the fracture of the cribriform plate, which may cause anosmia as well as CSF rhinorrhea. Then if there is a fracture of the temporal bone, it can lead to deafness, facial palsy, and sometimes leak of CSF from the ear, that is CSF otorrhea. So we should ask in detail the past history of any major illness, any drug history, or any injury. Then personal history. So if the patient is a smoker, then there are chances that he may develop carcinoma of the larynx, and the degeneration of the inner ear is more in smokers. So chances of getting a hearing loss early in the age is more with smoking. Then those who are uh, who chew tobacco, they have more chances of carcinomas of the oral cavity and oral submucous fibrosis. In this condition, there is juxtaepithelial fibrosis in the oral mucosa, so there is decreased mouth opening. Then persons who have the habit of cigar smoking, they have more chances of post-cricoid carcinoma. And those who are alcoholics, they have more chances of senile degeneration of the inner ear. So again, they develop hearing loss at an early age. So we should ask about the personal habits of the patient. Then family history. So autosomal dominant inheritance, it is seen with autosclerosis, and Mendelian inheritance, it is seen in congenital hearing loss. Mendelian inheritance means if there are two persons who are carrier, then their child may manifest, there are chances that their child will manifest the disease. So that is called Mendelian inheritance. So whenever we come across such patients, we should try to elicit the family history if some persons in the family are affected or not. Then social history. In social history, we should ask about whether the patient had any recent unsafe sexual contact, or was there a history of blood transfusion or not, because it leads to the AIDS in the patient, and one of the manifestations of AIDS is the hairy leukoplakia in the oral cavity. So when we see any pathology or fungal infection or hairy leukoplakia of the oral cavity, we should also always try to elicit the social history. So these are again the points in the general history of the patient, and we should try to elicit as much history as possible, because it will ultimately help in reaching our probable diagnosis. Thank you.